Welcome to Between Sundays. I'm Beth Ortiz.
I'm Tim Beck.
And it is great to be with you. Today we're going to spend some time talking about S.E.E.D, which is an acronym. And have you ever considered why do we love acronyms so much?
We really love, it's like the Methodist Church and the military. We love acronyms. Right?
I mean, are we just lazy? Is that, what is, no, like seriously, what is it?
I don't know. I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah. I mean, I like to acronym, like, we're the Office of Discipleship Ministry,
right.
And I really want to call us ODM all the time.
And this is Between Sundays, and
we will not abbreviate that.
But anyway,
yeah.
we were going to talk about S.E.E.D, which is, you've just taught me this, seek, equip,
Engage.
No, it's seek. Is it? Which is first?
It's seek, engage, equip, deploy. E's are hard.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think we should not start with that because clearly we're not ready.
We're not ready for that
instead,
yet.
we will start with another top 10. A top 10 that probably many of you, though maybe not all of our folks watching this grew up Methodist, but these are our top 10 signs that you grew up Methodist.
Right.
All right. So you believe faith is personal, but never private. And because let's be honest, there's always a potluck.
Always.
Or a mission trip.
Yes.
Or a committee meeting.
It's just
or
waiting
17.
to happen, right? Yeah. Or a lot of committee meetings, right?
Yeah.
We love our committees.
Yeah.
Or maybe number 9, you heard at least one sermon illustration about John Wesley's heart being strangely warmed. We have some reoccurring themes in these episodes, don't we? Potlucks and John Wesley and
heart warmth.
Right, yeah.
And that medical emergency waiting to happen.
Right.
I got to admit, actually, I think growing up, I don't know that I did hear any sermons about.
Well,
or maybe I didn't listen to any.
It's possible.
Yeah,
Confirmation class.
I don't recall much. There was a lot about the splits and going back together but it was not very entertaining. Okay. I assume as I tell my kids, like it was in the 90s before teachers had to be nice and clergy had to be agreeable. So I hope experiences are better today. All right. So number 8, you are weirdly comfortable with both robes and polos.
Yeah.
So kind of the high church and liturgy mixes with not.
They're very casual.
Yeah, they're very casual. I mean, I guess most people are, though. I mean, I guess comfortable is not the same as preference. Because I do find a lot of people have preferences.
Did you grow up in a church where the pastor was casual or formal?
Well, so we didn't have air conditioning. So, in the summer, Jesus allowed you to be more casual. And in the rest of the year, you had to wear robes. But
it's in the book of Discipline, too, I think. So
that Jesus says you can.
Yeah. I grew up in a church that it was all robes. But yeah, maybe in the summer, you could wear the sport coat. I don't know about a polo.
Yeah. No. I don't think. I think that's a recent phenomenon.
Number 7, you think connection is a normal word for how churches work. It's not just the Wi-Fi, kids.
I have to admit, like when you said that, it is like, outside the United Methodist system, like no else do I use it like this. So
for sure.
That is certainly. I'll give it this one. I'm a skeptic of some of these, but this one I will give it.
Okay.
All right. So number 6. You assume church decisions happen in committees.
Assume
and subcommittees and task forces and listening sessions. We are fans of gathering people too.
In the spirit of holy conferencing.
Yeah.
We will form a task force.
And maybe a task force about task force.
And it's okay. Sometimes those committees and task forces, I'm trying to be diplomatic, can be very productive.
We sit on enough. Yeah.
That's our goal. That's the goal.
Whichever one you like, that's the that's the good one.
All right, where are we? Number 5, you have strong feelings about what counts as too contemporary. Oh my goodness. The word contemporary in our worship can mean 1,000 different things to 1,000 different people.
I mean, I like that it refers mostly to things older than me, so I can I am chronically contemporary.
You're post-contemporary, I think.
No, I am contemporary. It makes me sound cooler, right? Gotcha. But yeah, so as long as those things are still contemporary.
Right.
Yeah, but
so clearly, I can just start referring to you as contemporary.
Yeah, I am contemporary. I am contemporary.
Gotcha.
That feels like that could be a song. Not that I will sing it ever.
Number 4.
That's going to be a lesson here.
Yeah.
I'm never going to sing anything.
Right.
4. All right. You learned early that coffee is a spiritual gift.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. I mean, it does feel like a means of grace, if I'm honest.
Like, does that mean that the churches that have bad coffee, what does that say?
I think it's like Browns fans. Like, they're actually the ones that are most loyal. Like, they learn the strongest lessons about hope.
Oh.
And never giving up. And
okay, so
like, there's always next week you believe it will be good.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 3. You know all 4 verses of whatever. You just have to know all 4 verses. If it's in the bulletin.
Yeah, all 4 verses. I gotta say, like, so I grew up United Methodist, but I discovered much later we did not have the United Methodist hymnal.
Oh.
We actually had a off-brand Baptist hymnal. Yeah, we're special folk.
An off-brand hymnal.
Yeah, like it wasn't official, but yeah, that's
so like the generic hymnal.
Yeah, it was called Praise. And but it wasn't contemporary, just to be clear.
Yes.
Like that was, but so like all these like 4 verses of Charles Wesley stuff, like I'm out. Like
really?
I'm like, they were not in the Baptist hymnal.
I'm totally down with all.
No.
But Charles Wesley was more than 4 verses typically, but anyway.
Well, yeah, I get that.
Right.
And they
there are
feel
like 12 verses
27.
of 4,000.
I am not, this is going to be a controversial statement. I am not a deep lover of many Charles Wesley hymns because I didn't grow up with them. And there's so much of them. So much. Okay, well, he's gone. We'll go on to number 2. You instinctively sit toward the middle of the sanctuary.
Oh, absolutely.
So not the front row.
No.
Or not the back row. But I'll say, so my dad always said we sat 2 rows from the back because that was, he said it was 2 rows away from something. But I don't believe to this day, my theory is that the pews up front are not structurally sound. They're just decorative. So I can't sit in them. It's not my fault. Like that's my reasoning.
Right. But I was a PK, and so we often had to sit up in the front row. Quick side story, one time sitting with a good friend, and we got a little chatty in church in the front row, and my dad in the middle of the sermon stopped his sermon and said, "Jim," and just kind of pointed at me, and I knew I was done.
You're just done.
He literally stopped his sermon to call me out. Okay.
I'm very grateful my dad was a diesel mechanic and my mom a teacher.
Yeah, number 1, you can spot a casserole from 1,000 yards away. Or 100 yards, or whatever. We just love our casseroles, don't we?
I mean, we do, actually. I really sometimes feel like I grew up Methodist light, but I'll tell you what, I can find a casserole anywhere.
Very good. That's our top 10. Top 10 signs you grew up Methodist. God.
So today we're going to talk some about S.E.E.D, which we've already messed up the order of the letters once. So just to
seek, engage, equip, deploy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So and this is just one way. This is about a discipleship culture. Gotcha. And I want to be really clear up front as we talk about S.E.E.D. This is not a program.
Good.
Like you don't do S.E.E.D. That doesn't even sound right? Like. I'm gonna go. How am I doing S.E.E.D? Like I don't.
Yeah. How does our church do this?
Yeah. That isn't it. It's really about culture, and I would actually say, I think in Ohio, all of our churches are doing, are living, are being S.E.E.D already.
Okay.
They're just not necessarily using the language, and so some about this is just about having some shared language.
Yeah.
One, so we can talk about what we're doing, but not just for sharing us, but to help inspire.
Right.
Ministry is hard, and I don't think we need to come up with all the ideas of how we're going to do it ourselves. And so really a lot of this is about common language.
Right.
But it also does then help put the different activities or energies or spirit of the church in some language that helps us also understand. I mean, because how many times have you met with United Methodist that does amazing ministry, let's say in a food pantry, and when you ask them why, or, they can't really give an answer.
Right.
And so some of this is just learning about how to talk about what we already do,
right.
So that we can help share that with others. But also, so then we go back to some discipleship, so we can then help also identify what is then our next faithful step off of that. So today we're just going to talk some about S.E.E.D.
Okay.
So seek. So seeking is, actually, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's about seeking, seeing people, I think, and who aren't already with us.
Right.
And also within this, this is about relationship.
Right.
I will say this is seeking is not about a program of like, how do you go and like find 5 strangers and get them to come to church or something like that.
So like living with some intentionality, how we connect with people both inside and outside the church walls. Is that what seek would be?
Yeah.
Is there a piece of that also is like how do we seek further relationship with God, with Jesus, that kind of thing too, or what?
I mean, that sounds good. So we could say that, yeah. I mean, this certainly is true, though some of that goes into engage. And I think that's what you'll see in these letters, too, is they do kind of blend together and roll through. But yes, I mean, I think for me, when we are seeking to be fully present with other people, we are seeking God.
Right.
I mean, because I think that's something that God desires for us. And I mean, I think one really key part for seek for me is that this is hospitality, so this love of stranger, but as a spiritual formation, as a spiritual discipleship, not as a program.
Okay. Love it.
So I want to lift up examples of each of this as we go, of current Ohio United Methodist churches that are really, that just are examples. And they're not the only examples. Like, I'm going to lift up one for each. That doesn't mean only one are doing it.
Okay.
But so Vermilion Grace, which is up on Lake Erie, like literally across the road from it, what they discovered a couple years ago is they had a family come with an adult child who was differently abled.
Okay.
And they welcomed them in worship. And the feedback they got from the family was that other churches had told them they weren't really welcome there. And so this started Vermilion Grace on a process of seeing and seeking. And out of this, they've created a whole ministry that makes different spaces of gathering for people in worship and different activities as well with fellowship for people, again, who are differently abled, who were in their community, but really they hadn't seen them before. And so now they've seeked them out. It's a beautiful ministry and one that really has a lot of passion within the church and the community.
They're more aware now of perhaps some needs and some ways in which they can be. I like the word hospitality.
Yes.
I think that's a great thing for churches to be mindful of.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think, too, they're a great example, too. It's changed in its time because they've seen and they've responded. And I think that is also part of seeking is sometimes our plans don't go exactly like we expect. And that's not a negative.
And what about engage? Tell us about that.
Engage. Okay. Yeah. So engagement is about making low stress, low pressure ways to belong. There's a lot of research that people need to belong before they believe sometimes.
Right.
And so making spaces where you can engage, and again, this is going to be a common thing, I think, actually. It's relationship over program. So this is not about having and that doesn't dog programs. So like if you've got a program that does this, but how do people get into it even? Like there's just this key part about relationship and helping people engage with maybe the church itself, with their faith, with each other. So kind of these multifold there and really focusing not necessarily on speed, like how fast we do this, though we do want to be intentional, but really looking at depth, like how do we help engage people?
So that's something I see lived out in youth ministry spaces. That's my background. If you don't know, I've been working in youth ministry for actually 32 years. And one thing that I'm seeing as youth culture changes is the trends to it's not getting rid of the program. It's a both and finding new ways to connect with students. And I use it on their turf, in their spaces. And so that aligns perfectly with what engage looks like is intended to be.
Absolutely. Well, and I think sometimes too, it can help when we have avenues that people already care about in some way and passion, and help engage those within the church as well. Because, we do all have things that we care about within us. And and so the engage example I want to lift up is from Springfield Grace. I thought this was amazing. We were there, and in their kitchen, they have these huge, trash cans, like those, big ones. And I thought they were really creative, composters or something.
Okay.
But what they do is they make every month over 100 gallons of laundry detergent to give away to folks, because laundry detergent is really expensive. But I think this is a great example of engagement, because this is something people can understand. Like, that's hard if your family doesn't have laundry detergent.
Right.
And so they invite people in their church to engage with a ministry. And the why is built in with it as well. And I mean, it's an amazing kind of like turnout of what they do, but they've made this space then to belong. And not only then are they serving people who need laundry detergent, but they're also helping connect people who also care about that.
Right.
So I think there's like this connection theme through there.
All right. What about
Equipping. Well, equipping is, it is kind of what it sounds like, right? Like helping people have what they need in order to do whatever God is calling them to.
Right.
And a big part of this, I think, is affirming of gifts.
I
think
love it.
we are really good at minimizing our gifts, especially if they fall outside like standard United Methodist gifts, which, like if you can sing, right? Like, we've got a place for you.
Yeah.
We've made a lot of potluck conversations already, but we know how to use you if you can cook decently. Yeah. But there are a lot of gifts out there that maybe we haven't done as good at affirming. And especially affirming in light of our faith. And so this is also about removing barriers to people in their leadership. This would include barriers, again, stopping new ministries from arising, or barriers of, this is how we've always done it for new leaders to arise. But really, this is about leadership development, mentoring, shared responsibility.
Yeah.
And I would also say, too, within engage and equip, and there's a lot of gray between these. This is also, we need to make sure as we're equipping, we also mean equipping in our faith journey.
For sure.
Like, so that kind of continued, how do we keep getting the tools in which to keep being curious about God?
Sounds like, though, with this equipping stage, there's some space for some innovation, some creativity to help people really discern, well, what is my calling, or what are my gifts, and how might they be expressed in ways that a typical church maybe isn't used to.
Yes, absolutely. So. Yeah. And how can we make space for that too? Which is, I think, a really critical part in a faith community. And so the church I want to lift up for this might be a little different for some, but it's Warren Chapel, which is in Fleming, Ohio, which is outside Marietta.
Okay.
And I just love this. So they're part of a multi-point charge, and they're the second stop. So the pastor couldn't be there early, but folks kept showing up early because they like each other. And that is not the equipping part, but that's great. That's great that they're making spaces belong. They've got the engagement down, right? So they had people engaged. And so, but they said, let's take the next step. We're all here anyhow. Let's have Bible study during this time.
Okay.
And so they made space. One of their lay members leads it. But they have a huge percentage of their congregation who now come and are equipped. So they've made space for that leader to lead this.
Gotcha.
He's stepped into that role. But then they're also like that claiming of that identity, like how they're equipping that we're responsible for discipleship and making space. And I would say within that too, the also equipping in that is, and this is engagement with, they just love to be together. And so they said, but let's not just be together for the sake of being together.
Right.
Let's make it faithful.
Love it.
And so I really love the way they've built this in. And then I just think of, again, the layers of leadership within that. Yeah.
And what about deploy?
Deploy. Well, it is actually, again, kind of what it sounds like. So this is about going out. This is about everyday ministry. This is like in our wheelhouse, right? Like we're all about between the Sundays,
right.
Which all of this is. But this is really, in part, this is about making sure we equally value ministry outside the church walls as inside the church walls, and reaching the people who aren't already with us in various ways. So this does look like community engagement, community outreach. This also, though, looks like helping support people to live as disciples with whatever their career is or wherever they are in their life, kind of that everyday movement of that.
Right. And that's certainly something in the local church that can be a struggle for some of us, because it might mean stepping out of our comfort zone. But, as we've talked about discipleship in previous episodes, you've mentioned sacrifice as a part of that. So sometimes even in the deployment, it might mean doing something that we didn't think we were even capable of doing. And sometimes it's as simple as just going across the street and saying hello to a neighbor. Mm-hmm. We're not as neighborly as we once were. So
no, certainly not. Well, and this is a key piece too. Like, we're not necessarily good at it, or maybe we're rusty at it.
Right. We just have to practice.
Yeah. And so, but this is key. Even though it's outside the church walls, the faith community still supports it and finds ways to affirm it. And that's kind of like this key bridging of it. And the deploy I'm going to lift up. And I feel like all of these I'm lifting up, hopefully are you can see your spot in this as a church as well. I think every church is doing some bit of these well. But deploy in Howland, we have a church, Howland United Methodist, that has a sports ministry, longtime sports ministry, vibrant ministry. But in their deployment, one of the things they really recognized is the curriculum they were using, which was solid, came with a certain level of cost, though.
Right.
And as they were trying to reach those in their community, price point was an issue. And even though they had scholarships, people don't always want to ask for those. And so as they were reaching out to more and more community, one thing they said is we need to change how we're doing this. And so the leader, Kayla, who is amazing, shout out to Kayla, who is amazing, wrote her own curriculum, outsourced some of the other pieces so that they could drop the price point in order to reach more people. So again, she was engaged, she was equipped, and so was her team, Brandon and some others on that team. But then they went out to make sure they were reaching people. She really, and it's an amazing curriculum. And that's, as we talk about what Office of Discipleship Ministry is, someday we hope to have her lead something for us on how to lead good sports ministry. But they deployed back out into the community to serve that community. Yeah. And this really rolls back into Seek as well. As you'll see, these aren't linear, but in part of this is they were seeking to reach more people with this great ministry. And then they had to adjust how they were deploying and how they were equipping. And so it kind of cycles through in that way.
So there's a lot of overlap with S.E.E.D. And of course, if you think of the S.E.E.D analogy, there are deep roots, which your discipleship should have deep roots as well. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we're going to have some time in further episodes to talk more about that because there's a lot we could talk about.
Absolutely. I think S.E.E.D is something, I think of it kind of as like the trellis that is behind a lot of what we do. It doesn't command where the vine goes, but it helps us lift it up. Gotcha. Vines actually, tomato plants, for instance, do better if they don't vine on the ground. And so that's piece of this as well. I think this is going to wind through. And a lot of things I think we get to do, which is a great honor, is when we meet with churches, we get to say, wow, we really see where you're already really equipping or you're really already engaging.
Sure.
And then from that strength standpoint, help choose some next steps, starting with not what you are least good at, but actually where are you naturally strong and God is leading in that.
Yeah, we definitely want to walk alongside any church that is already in the midst of some of this stuff, but this is a good sort of whet the appetite. I love the language. I think it's important for us to have a common language. So I look forward to further conversations and to see how this might be lived out in all of Ohio. So.
Yeah. Well, and along the lines of conversation, as we knew we were going to be doing this, we invited some people to send us questions.
Right.
And so at the end of some of these, we're going to have mailbag questions. And so today is going to, we have two with us. So Tim, I'm going to ask you my question first. So what movie, book, or TV show have you watched or read repeatedly?
So one book that I've probably read the most is The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. You read it?
Yes, I've read it.
I've read it like probably 7 or 8 times. I don't know. I used to read it like every year. There's just something about his style and how he writes about story that's just rather fascinating to me. That's a book. If it was a TV show, The Office, I've definitely seen The Office too many times that I could quote word for word.
I've noted that about you.
Yes.
That is, we're going to choose to think it's endearing.
Right. And as far as a movie goes, if it were Shawshank Redemption, because it's literally on TV every weekend. So
I've never seen Shawshank Redemption start to finish. I've seen parts. I've seen when he crawls out of a pipe.
Yes.
So I've seen the end, movie, right? So, yeah, like I don't really get it, but I've seen the end. So I'll say TV show. I watch Frasier and West Wing on pretty much continuous loop in my world. Toby Ziegler, if you're familiar with West Wing, is like, that's my spirit character there.
Gotcha.
He's delightful, much like myself, I think.
And whose character in Frasier do you take after the most? I'm saying the dad.
Martin. Oh God, I would hope so. Oh, that would make me so happy. Like that'd be the best day of my life if I was Martin.
Right.
Book. I have to say anything by Brandon Sanderson. I'm a pretty big fan of. You don't know Brandon Sanderson? I mean, okay, well. I don't know who he is. I don't know who Tim is. I know who Brandon Sanderson is. Yeah, no, Brandon Sanderson is just amazing. So if you don't, I'm not even gonna bother.
Okay.
You're not worth the time.
Google.
And movie, what movie? So I have a 7 and 9 year old. So everything I'm watching on repeat is kid stuff. So that's not necessarily to write home about.
Okay. All right. My question is, who's your favorite person or group to follow on social media? Are you into social media?
Well, I was going to say, so I feel like I'm at a detriment in this conversation since I don't really do much social media. That's something that I'm trying to grow at. So I don't really follow anyone on social media. I could say what I listen to in podcasts.
I was thinking podcasts.
Podcasts, yeah.
What do you listen to on podcasts?
So right now I listen to Advisory Opinions, which is a lawyer podcast focused on Supreme Court in particular.
Well, that sounds thrilling.
It is thrilling, actually. It's fabulous. I would 10 out of 10 recommend. And then also Presidential, which is a Washington Post.
It's very...
What?
Nothing.
I mean, that one's all about...
Sounds great.
It does sound great.
It's
you know
good.
what? It's about all the presidents and just a little bits about all of them.
Very good.
Yeah.
So you like history then?
Yeah, I mean, that was my undergrad.
Oh, well, that makes sense then. I thought it'd be like true crime or something. Social media, I probably just follow like some comedians, and I'm not as in the social media game as I used to be. But I do listen to podcasts, and I have some that I listen to almost religiously. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, Smartless, and some things that are Saturday Night Live adjacent, because that's kind of like I grew up with Saturday Night Live. I still watch it today. So I like comedy stuff. It's like mind-numbing. It doesn't mean anything. It just, I don't have to pay attention. I don't even have to like think. So very good. Look at us. We are some well-rounded individuals.
I mean, I feel like actually we have very different taste is what's very clear there. And mine's better. Not that it's competition, but clearly I'm better.
Well, smarter. I mean, like I said, I listen to Smartless. You listen to Smarter. So.
Smartless? Is that?
That's the name of the show.
That's literally, okay. Well, there we have it.
I'm not endorsing any of these podcasts, by the way. I just thought of that.
We endorse nothing.
Yeah,
I'm
not.
Do we endorse anything? That. Jesus? Do we endorse Jesus? Jesus does not need our endorsement. Jesus. Yeah. So
if he did, I would listen.
Well, thank you for making the end of this webisode, and we are grateful for that, and we can't wait to be with you again.
All right, thanks. Bye.